All right, everyone.
Yeah.
This is Blake Hutto and Kyle Robbins. We have been best friends since I don't even know 4 or 5 years old. Um,
Yeah,
anyways,
kindergarten.
yeah, we had some good times at Travis, but we're go ahead, Kyle. Take it over, bud. Tell them why we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, me and Blake, like you said, we're best friends since we were in about kindergarten and grew up together, had a lot of fun, went to high school together. After that, kind of went our separate ways, but we stayed in touch pretty much the whole time. And, we talk regularly about different stages in our career and FaceTime quite often. And we're kind of now at this point in our lives, kind of in the same, kind of at a cross paths where just randomly, without even trying to, we kind of got in the same field. It's kind of cool because now we can kind of talk about that. And we learned a lot of stuff. Um, and we just want to share that with people and, help try to help people any way we can. Hopefully it's fun, entertaining, and ultimately they can gain some knowledge from it is our goal. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, we can kind of talk about why we're doing it. You want to go with that? Talk about
Yes,
that a little bit?
yeah. So just dig in a little deeper. So, Kyle and I both have, as they say, worked for the man, right? And I feel like there's a big push with our generation of getting out of that 9 to 5 and uh, whatever you want to call it these days, side hustles or entrepreneurship or whatever. Working for yourself is the main goal, right? Financial freedom is what I feel like a lot of people these days are looking for. They go on Instagram or they go on TikTok or they go on Facebook or whatever, and they have all these motivational guys that are trying to get them out. But let's be all honest, these people you follow have millions of followers and things like that, and they're big time dudes. So sometimes you feel, well, maybe it isn't for me actually. I'm not this dude who has 10 million followers or million followers or even 5,000 followers. I'm just a normal average Joe Blow. I work my 9 to 5, just as you and I did. Well, you're a little different. You're in the Navy, but I worked for a credit union, little community resource credit union, little small town credit union for over 5 years. Um, I went to U of H, graduated with a finance degree, and right after I graduated with a finance degree, I worked at the credit union as a teller. And I'll be honest, I was actually embarrassed because all my friends were coming in with big checks from Exxon and Chevron and all these oil and gas companies, and I was sitting over here making $13 an hour, right? So I spent 5 years at the credit union. I'm so glad I did. I'm very blessed to have that job. It was local. It was in Baytown. It's right down the road from my parents' house, which is where I was living at the time. And I held 4 different positions, but my last position there was in mortgage, which is kind of what got me into mortgages. I never graduated high school or college or anything like that, and thought, let's go do home loans forever.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that's kind of my journey of how I ended up here. And as Kyle said, we've been best friends forever, and now that we're both in real estate, we FaceTime quite often and try to share knowledge with each other and help each other out and just um, try to make each other more successful. So that's what we're trying to do right here is just share a little bit of knowledge of what we talk about every week. That's how we came up with it. It's like, dude, we're FaceTiming every week. We might as well just record it and see if it can help at least one other person out. And if it does, then it was worth it. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, awesome. Blake, I always think it's funny, and this isn't picking on you or nothing, but because I give people a hard time whenever they go to college and then they end up in a career that didn't require a degree, and it's like, dude, imagine if you did this when you're 18, you'd be like a multimillionaire by now.
I can't
But
disagree.
you got the connections. You got the connections.
I, honestly, a lot of my connections now were, yeah, through my fraternity. I still see a lot of my fraternity brothers, but besides that, honestly, I do think no, is it needed? No. Do I regret getting it? Absolutely not.
No,
But
I'm just picking on you. I mean, I'm just jealous.
no, I know that's a big thing for you for sure, but I do feel whenever people walk in my office, or even some older people will be like, "Yeah, where'd you go to college?" It's better to have that. It makes people feel more trustworthy towards me for having that degree. So, but
No,
no, it's not
100%.
needed. You're right. As I said,
Yeah,
I graduated and went and worked as a teller. I was working with 18-year-olds and I was
yeah.
23. So,
No, for sure. It shows some solid work ethic and stuff like that.
but I
But
agree with you. If
I was
anyone's
just
interested,
messing. Thought I'd throw that joke out there just
yeah,
because it's funny.
if
But
anyone's interested and they're 18, get with me. I can get you in the mortgage business.
yeah, just skip college, go straight to mortgage.
Yeah.
But yeah, but no. But for me, I mean, I did a little bit different. 18, joined the Navy right after high school. I don't know why I did that, but I did it. Um,
As it worked out.
oh man, it was a wild ride. But yeah, so I did about 10 years in the Navy. I was a machinist mate. I was a nuclear machinist mate, so I worked on like the reactor side. So we had a really, really long school, which was in South Carolina. And then I was on a aircraft carrier, Abraham Lincoln, for 4.5 years. And then I went recruiting, which is what brought me here to Clarksville, Tennessee, for 3 years, and then got out and stayed here. But yeah, I pretty much hated everything about the Navy, honestly. It was not for me. A lot of people that are, I mean, it can be really good. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from joining, but a lot of people who do join, that becomes like their identity, and that's who they are. It's kind of like, this is my career. I am the Navy, and the whole time I was like, I am not the Navy. This is not what I want to do, and I knew that. 100% I knew that. But the problem is, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that it was not that.
Yeah.
So, I was getting out, and I think deep down in my mind, I always knew. I mean, obviously, everybody, they want to make a lot of money. It's like, it's all about the money, right? So I followed the money. I was like, well, how can I make a lot of money? And honestly, in my career in the Navy, I mean, as a nuclear machinist, man, I could have gone out and moved somewhere. There's a ton of power plants, nuclear power plants I can go work at and make six figures. But the problem is that your family, or your quality of life and family life is lack thereof. It's, you're gonna work shift work, stuff like that, and I just kind of refused to do that. I wanted to have the freedom to do what I want to do and make a lot of money, which almost seemed impossible. So I got on Google, and I was just, how can I make a lot of money? What can I do? And one of my buddies was a pharmacist, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do, pharmacist. Because the Navy was going to pay for my college anyway. So I was like, well, I can just go to school for free. They'll pay me like a paycheck to pay for my mortgage, and I'll go to school to be a pharmacist, and then I'll make like six figures, and I'll be happy. And I started studying for that, and I was like, this is terrible. This is super hard. I hate it. Like, I can't even pronounce these terms. I have no interest in it. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I was like freaking out because I only had like a couple months before my last paycheck from the military was gonna hit. So I didn't know what I was gonna do. So then I started the next thing I was gonna do before I ultimately got to where I am is I was gonna be a financial advisor, because that's what one of my friends was too. And I interviewed with a company, faked it till I made it, just talking. But I hated that too. I was like, I was like freaking out. What am I going to do? So then ultimately, I was like, took like a heart, I mean, I had a heart to heart with myself. I was like, looked myself in the mirror. I was like, what do you actually want to do? If it didn't matter, if the money wasn't a thing, you could do whatever you want. What would you do? And I was like, I would flip houses. That's what I would do. And like that's like my passion. It's what I really, really wanted to do. And that from that moment, as soon as I decided that, I quit college. I didn't care about them paying me money anymore. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something in real estate, because I wasn't able to just go flip a house immediately. I didn't have the funds to do it. So I got my real estate license. And then, you know, I guess I can talk about the rest later, but that's slowly how I got to where I am.
Yeah. So just to backtrack a little bit. So just a funny story. The pharmacist that Kyle is talking about, him and I met in Cabo. on a beach one day, and then we just became good buddies.
Yeah, randomly.
Shout out to Juan
We
Wayne.
should have Juan Wayne on the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. And anyway, so just backtracking a little bit. But yeah, I agree, man. I kind of same thing. I didn't mean to get into real estate at all. Um, as I said, working at the credit union, I was a teller. I was a member service representative. I worked the front desk. I was a personal financial officer, which is a guy who does car loans and personal loans and sets up accounts. And then I just happened to fall into mortgage. And once I got into mortgage, I thought, this is actually pretty cool. So I went out and got my real estate license while I was still working there. And I sold a few houses while I was working there. But then I decided to venture out on my own and kept my real estate license and went and worked for a mortgage broker, which is much more free. I mean, it's a 100% commission based job. You have to bring your own clients. You have to go out and hustle. You have to make your own money. There's no guaranteed pay. There's no 9 to 5. If I sat home all day and played video games, I'd make $0. So we have to go out and hustle. We have to talk to people. We have to go to luncheons. We have to do all of that stuff to provide for our families, which is where both Kyle and I are now, but that's not where we were just a few years ago. So it's been a good, fast, fun journey the past 3 years for myself that I've been working for myself. And I think Kyle's pretty much in that same 3 to 4 year boat as well.
Well, I mean, so yes and no for me. So I didn't. So as soon as I got my real estate license, right, I wasn't. Well, for like the first 6 months, I was on my own basically, and then me and another guy made a team together. But it was like you said, it was commission only. We weren't getting paid. Where you ate what you killed type mentality.
Yeah.
And then after that, we kind of got recruited onto a really, really big real estate team, like one of the number 2 producers in Montgomery County, selling over 100 homes a year. Got brought into her team, and we're just kind of like a part of that team for, I don't know, a couple months. And then I wasn't really feeling the whole, because ultimately my goal was not to be a real estate agent. That was just kind of a stepping stone for me. And I didn't really enjoy that either. And the next thing after that, it kind of just happened was the leader of the team needed like an admin assistant to do like all the contract paperwork stuff, which I was really good at. I didn't mind that because I could do it super fast versus like having to drive around all day and show buyers houses. I was not really my cup of tea because, I mean, sounds bad, but I'm not a people person. I'm like, dude, you want to buy this house or not? Like, yes or no? I'm not all about that. So I did the admin thing, and I did that for like 3 years, right? But it wasn't a 9 to 5. I did have a lot of freedom. The good thing about that job was I could do it anywhere in the world. I could have my computer, but it was very demanding. I had to do it, at 10 o'clock at night. I had to do it at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was an all day, everyday thing. So I didn't have freedom. So I didn't actually quit that job until August in 2022 is when I quit. So I'm pretty new, honestly, to the full time, I'm making it on my own type thing. But so far, it's been awesome. I've been a lot happier, slept better. Well, okay, I haven't always slept better. Sometimes I'm like freaking out, but
I understand that one. Some nights you sleep good.
But I have been happier though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, the happiness. I mean, well, you and I are both in the same situation right now with our youngest, and you're about to have another one. But I mean, just spending the time with my 2 and 3 year old every day. I get to spend multiple hours with them during the normal 9 to 5 time. So that's a huge deal to me. That's as I tell everyone, that's my number one hobby right now. I don't have a hobby. I have a boat, but I went on my boat 2 hours last year. Probably won't go on it this summer just because they are my priority. Like I don't have hobbies; they are my hobby. So anyway, just getting back to and I did want to mention, as Kyle said, I'm in Texas, he's in Tennessee, but we remain very, very good friends. So this is two different, I guess, markets. I'm in a Texas market, he's in a Tennessee market. So we
Yeah.
don't, I mean, it is different. We don't have the same anything really. I mean, even the laws, Texas has much different laws than Tennessee when it comes to mortgages. So you'll get two completely different perspectives of two different states. So I think that's another reason to just tune in and listen and uh, see if we can bring you some knowledge. So
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Blake and I are both going to bring on. I mean, ultimately, we want to continue the podcast, and I mean, I definitely consider myself a very, even though I mean, I've done, you know, a good amount of. If I would have looked at myself when I was getting out of the Navy to now, and if I would have been like, man, look at that guy, I would think he's super successful. But now, where I am now, I don't consider myself that, just because I see so many other people who are so much more successful than me,
yeah,
that have way more knowledge than I do. They could shed a lot more light on things that I can't shed light on. And so we're going to bring people like that on the show. And we're going to interview them, get to know them, and they're going to blow your mind with the stuff they talk about. And I'm going to be taking notes the whole time. So looking forward to that. It's like free learning for us. And they get to just be,
and hopefully, if it
helpers.
works out like we are hoping it will, this isn't just going to be real estate dudes and mortgage dudes and house flippers and hard money guys and all of that. Hopefully, if it works out like we want to, we'll bring some other people on, small business owners around the area that did start out just like we did, working a 9 to 5, took a leap of faith, just put it all out there, all of it on the line, and so we're hoping to get a
Yeah.
couple of others on here as well. So hopefully it's going to be a good journey. And as I said, why we're doing this is just as I said, we FaceTime quite often. I'm sure our wives, mine sitting over there, have been very annoyed with us as how much we do FaceTime and stay up and talk to each other. But that's why we started. We're like, dude, we talk so much, we share so much knowledge together. Why don't we give this to some other people out there? So that's our reason why we're doing this. So
Yeah, for sure. So how much time do we have left on this thing, Blake?
it doesn't say, and this is our first one. We aren't.
Well, I guess we'll just keep going, and
Yeah,
then
we,
we'll
we
just
don't we
add
don't
it
really
in.
we don't know what we're doing. We're shooting from the hip on the recording. I actually hope it's working. I don't actually know if it's due.
So
I think
let's do this, Blake. Then, so I don't know if we have enough time or not, because I don't know how big of a question this is for both of us to answer. But so how did you know for you? Because you mentioned you were working at the credit union, and you made the jump to full mortgages to where you're only commission, right? So how did you know, or how did you prepare yourself to go from, hey, I know how much money I'm going to make, to make the jump to where I'm commission only, and how, like, what made you comfortable to do that?
there was never a comfort. Honestly, it was always uncomfortable, which is, I mean, what they say you should always be doing, right? You should always be pushing yourself outside your normal box, right? It was actually very, very, very scary because it was in 2020. Um, actually, right about this time. It was in June 2nd, actually. So yeah, we're about 2 weeks. I'll be self-employed for 3 years, but my daughter was just born. COVID just hit. It was a wild, wild time, actually. My daughter was born in February, and I had some, what do they call it for guys? Paternity leave, right? Paternity leave. But it wasn't enough. It was like 2 weeks. And then I took an extra 2 weeks unpaid. And it just wasn't enough time for me, right? I had to go back to my job and COVID hit and there was all these worries about me getting sick and all this stuff. And my daughter was just, a month old, 2 months old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had my real estate license already and I was already working some deals with that. So, I was making a couple extra thousand every month off of the real estate deals. And unfortunately for me and the credit union, they would not let me do um, the real estate side and the mortgage side, which kind of made me angry. I didn't like that because I talked to other brokers. Actually, whenever you're in, I'm sure you know, whenever you're a realtor or in mortgage, there's brokers reaching out to you weekly trying to get you on if you're performing right. So when I was at the credit union, I was actually the top performer the last 2 years I was there. Um, and I was closing like $13 million a year. Like, so that's quite a bit. Um, and anyways, there's a lot of brokers reaching out to me. So I talked to a couple of them and I like what I heard. So I went with someone local. And as I said, the main tipping point was I couldn't do both sides. And that was bothering me because whenever I did a real estate deal, I couldn't bring it into the credit union. I had to send it externally, which was anyways. So
Yeah.
that was the main tipping point was I wanted to do both sides. I wanted to be the realtor and the mortgage loan officer because in my opinion that is such an advantage to the client because they don't have to talk to two people. If you know one person that knows both sides, I can negotiate so well.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
I
good
mean,
point.
even with new construction, that's actually my favorite because typically on new construction, I don't get to be the lender because they can always beat the rate, you know. But I can always advise them on what the lender is trying to do to make it seem like a good deal when it's really not a good deal, you know.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that was the main tipping point was them not allowing me to do both sides, which other brokers said they would, and which I have. I've actually done 20 deals where I was the realtor and the loan officer. So that's the straw that broke the camel's back, and that's what
Yeah.
pushed me out. Plus, my daughter being born, it was just like
So
I
you
can go.
didn't have, you were never scared. You were just
Oh, dude,
all
Diane.
good.
I mean, Diana, she's staring at me right now, dude. She was like, Blake, I don't know, man. I don't know.
What about, did you have any sort of health benefits with the credit union versus
Oh
now?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had to go out and get my own insurance,
Yeah.
own everything. I mean, there was no more. There was at the credit union. I had a pension, I had a 401k, I had insurance, all of that. Going out
Yeah.
on my own, I had no guaranteed paycheck. I had no insurance. I had no pension. I had no 401k. It's all on me now, right? And as I said, this was right. This is right when COVID hit. This is summer 2020.
Yeah.
Um, which just happened to be the lowest interest rates that ever happened. So it was a really good time to get in the market out. That was the refi
Yeah.
boom. And it,
Everybody made money in that market, huh?
dude, I don't even want to talk about it. It was fun. It was a good,
Yeah.
it was a good time. But anyways, yeah, just a combination of my daughter being born, me wanting to be there more, for her and just me wanting to explore more options of being able to do both sides of the realtor side. I mean of the real estate side, mortgage and
Yeah, for
realtor.
sure. So which side do you prefer? Old Blake or new Blake?
Old Blake or new Blake? Well,
Yeah.
I always prefer new Blake. I'm always
Yeah. There
you
you
know
go.
I'm always learning, but
Always evolving.
I do prefer mortgages personally. I prefer mortgages over the real estate side just because I'm a huge numbers guy. And numbers just come so easy to me, and I feel like I can really explain to people the process. Well, being a realtor obviously helps out, but I can really explain the home buying process and really put
Yeah.
people at ease when it comes to just
Yeah,
buying.
you have like the whole, you have everything needed for somebody buying a house. You're the realtor, loan officer. You know every question they could possibly ask you with
Yeah,
anything.
no, that's a
Yeah.
great point. Like, and I tell them, and I'll show you text. You can text me, 7 a.m. On Monday, or you can text me 10 p.m. on Saturday. I will get back to you because I know because I've personally been there. We all have. When you're buying your first home, or it doesn't matter, second home, and it's been 7 years since you bought your first home, you don't remember anything, you
Mhm.
know? So it is, that's one of the most rewarding parts of my job, I think, is just putting people at ease, during that process because I know how stressful it can be, and I want to take all that stress upon myself because it doesn't stress me out because I've done it. I've done over 400 loans, so it
Yeah.
doesn't, it doesn't stress me out. I know what's going to be asked. I know what's going to happen before it happens. I know what the underwriter's going to want.
Hmm.
So if you,
Yeah.
I don't want to brag on myself, but if you look at my Facebook, I'm clearing to close loans in 1 to 3 days. Like that's
Yeah, and I think that's insane.
unheard of.
I'm glad that you said that because that's something I didn't think about before. But I mean, here in Tennessee, we're not clear to close till, a couple of days before closing on a 30-day close.
Yeah,
So, and maybe we can talk about that on the next episode. Maybe like what that entails, like getting somebody clear to close, or why some lenders take 30 days and you can do it in 3, or whatever it is. Because honestly, I don't even know. That's something I would want to know.
yeah,
I'm not a lender. Um, but I mean, I don't know if we have time, but I mean, I can kind of answer the same question I
yeah.
asked
Hit
you.
it. Yeah,
But I mean, for me, like, I mean, honestly, I was afraid to leave well, let me back up. When I was doing the admin position for, the company that I'm at, well, I'm still at the same company, Legion Realty. Um, but I was assistant for the broker for the company, and I mean, she was paying me super, super good. I mean, there was times I made. Well, I mean, I don't really care if I'll just say the amount. I mean, I could make $8,000 to $15,000 a month regularly with every single month. But
yeah,
I mean, I was like working like all day long sometimes, or it felt like, or it could be times where I wasn't working for 5 hours. But then if at 10 o'clock at night, if I was watching a movie with my family, I was expected to, do whatever I had to do and hop on the computer and do
yeah.
X, Y, Z. Which at first was fine. I was like, it is what it is. It's a good amount of money for what I'm doing. I have a good life. I could do this job from home. I mean, I was working whenever when we had Luke, our first baby. I remember holding him in my arms. In one arm, I had my computer on my knees, and I was working. And I was
Yeah,
like, this is kind of cool. I could do. I was working in the hospital when we had him. I was like,
yeah.
which is kind of cool, but at the same time, that's annoying. Like, you don't want to do that. You
I
don't want to
know.
have to do that. But for
And then
what it
you're on
was,
vacation with your family. Got to go up to the computer. Yeah,
hey, can't relax. That's exactly right.
yeah.
It was like we're on vacation, but you're not on vacation. Your body's on vacation, but your mind's not on vacation because you're
I
always
understand
thinking
that.
about
Yeah,
like, did I email this person? Whatever. Is this going to actually close tomorrow? I mean, it's because if anything falls apart, it was ultimately my fault. Even if it wasn't my fault, it was my fault. You know what I mean? But so I did that for about 3 years. But like you said, while you were working at your old job, you got your real estate license, doing real estate deals. Well, while I was doing that, the money I was making, I was saving it, I was building up, and I was flipping houses at the same time. I wasn't flipping high volume, but I flipped one house the very first year, just one. I made not that much money, but I did one. Right, got my feet wet. Second year, I flipped a lot more than one. Did pretty good, and then I just kept the ball rolling. And the relationship I had with the person that I was working for actually helped me flip more houses. I partnered with her on a few, and it just kind of opened the door to more and more and more. And ultimately, I just got to the point where I was. It was like, yes, I can make a lot of money working in this position, but I can also make more than enough to support myself flipping houses. And that ultimately was my dream, or what I said was my dream. Like, so if what I say is my dream and I'm not doing it, or I'm not pursuing it, then it's like, what are you doing? So it was like, I was able to go do that. So I just ultimately made the jump, but I was still extremely scared because, I mean, I might not get paid flipping a house for 3 or 4 months. Right. And it's like, you got to have an income every month. So I had to really learn how I was gonna provide for myself. So there's a long story, and I guess I can dive into that too more maybe on the next episode of how I did set myself up for like I guess, success or like on a budget, so to say, to live off of being on such a sporadic income because it is super difficult. But yeah, I ultimately just made the jump just because I kind of believe in the mentality of you got to put your money where your mouth is sometimes. So if you say that this is what you want to do, but you're not doing it, then you're just full of you're just full of it. This is like I just got my builder's license, and I probably shouldn't even say this, but I was on the phone with my dad today, and I was like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm thinking about buying a lot to build a house." And he's like, "Really? That would scare me to death." And I'm like, "Dad, I just got my builder's license. If I don't build a house, then I'm not a builder."
There
Like,
you go.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's like if you're gonna take the time to go do something, you gotta freaking do it. Like,
Yeah.
who cares? You'll figure it out. You ain't gonna lose that much money. You're gonna learn a lot.
I mean, it's just like going to school, right? These people are going, getting their gender studies degree, spending $60,000. You might as well spend, maybe you'll lose 15 grand, but you'll learn way more than getting a gender studies degree.
Yeah, it's freaking. It's just nuts. But yeah, I mean, this whole podcast, man, like you said, it's just geared for educating people on real estate, mortgages. It's honestly just motivating people too to, hey, if you are in a 9 to 5 and you hate your life, you don't like working for the man, you don't like being told when to go to work, how many vacation days you get per year, how many sick days you get per year, like when you can open your eyes in the morning, then this podcast is for you. It can be any career. It doesn't have to be real estate. It doesn't have to be mortgage. There's so many career opportunities that can lead to passive income or just being an entrepreneur in any field in general that I think this podcast can provide value to. So um, I
Yeah, I
hope
got
that you guys can tune in next week. And
yeah, I got buddies in the financial sector. I got buddies in the whatever you want. I got it all, flooring sector, restaurant sector. I hope to get them all on here.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I hope, well, first off, I hope that we can learn how to actually, hopefully this is recording. I don't know. It says it
Oh
is.
my gosh. I hope it is too.
I hope so.
We're
It's
gonna get better. I'm gonna get a microphone. I have
I
my computer up
I
on
got a
like a
microphone. I just didn't want to embarrass Kyle.
I'm gonna get one. I got my computer like on a piece of Tupperware, but hey, it's all good.
Yeah, it'll get better. This is the first time I've talked to Kyle on the computer. It's always on FaceTime on the phone. So this is actually a first for both of us. Um, so
And this is one take, so it's pretty. I mean, not bad.
yeah,
One
this is
take.
our first try, which I said I hope it's recording.
All right, Blake. So where can people follow you? Where are you at?
Oh, like socials?
Yeah, check out his socials.
Um,
I think I only got
Facebook,
Facebook.
and I'm pretty strong on TikTok, bro. Posting
You're on
TikTok. What are
TikTok?
you laughing at? What are you laughing at? That is laughing
Yeah.
at me for saying
You
TikTok.
you can hit me up on Facebook. I got two, Kyle Robbins and Generational Home Buyers. That's where you can find all the properties I flip. I recently got my builder's license, so I might make a generational home builders. I don't know yet. I might tie in with buyers, and then I'm not on anything else. I've been wanting to hit up TikTok though for some cool stuff, but I just haven't dived into that. But
By the
maybe
time you
episode
get
two,
in,
I'll
it'll
be on TikTok.
it'll probably be gone.
Yeah, I probably will. Well, they
I
got the
mean,
AI now though. I need to hop on the AI. I need to talk about that on like episode 50 or something.
or like chat GPT or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That stuff is crazy, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just saw my insurance guy made a post that said Chat GPT. I'm pretty sure he's using it. I need to talk to him. Be like, how'd you do that?
Oh yeah, you just download the app, you tell it what you wanted to say, and then it'll make a whole story for you.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that on a different episode. But I think we're pretty much wrapped up for episode one, right?
Yeah, it says remaining meeting time is at 3:24, 3 minutes and 24 seconds. So yeah, we're pushing it.
Man, we did a good job, Blake.
Yeah, we did, bud.
All right. Well, we will see you guys episode two.
See you, man.
Yeah.